Hello, everyone. Welcome
Hello.
back to Riffs.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a quick little fan art picture to show you guys, which is a picture of the slug attacks Al's face. It's super effective.
Yeah. There's also another one a little bit lower on with Patrick and the slug.
Hang on one second. Let me go down a bit then. Oh, I do think I showed that one, but just in case I didn't.
Just in case.
Just in case, there's Patrick asking if he can keep it. We've got a confused Al
No,
and an upset Tom.
no, I'm thinking that we did show it, but I like it enough that we showed it again.
I concur. Yeah. All right. So.
I like the mutual sad faces. All right. On with the campaign. When we last left off, this is Criana, since you had to leave mid-game because you were feeling poorly. I'm glad you're feeling much better now. They were on the way back to the Behemoth after your training, but ran afoul of some werewolves. They were able to fend them off very well, mind you. But before that happened, a chunk of the ATV's back left tire was ripped off by one of the werewolves, and you now have a flat without a spare handy. So to start off the session, of course, if you have any questions for me or anything like that, feel free to ask. But the first challenge for you all is to figure a way. I'm saying at this point you're still maybe about, I'd say about 5 to 7 miles you're estimating back from where the Behemoth is, from your current position. And you just have to figure out a way to get there with a flat. Now, let's just take a quick head count, for lack of a better word, of the vehicles that we have, right? I know there's Patrick's ATV, and I know Burn has his motorcycle. I know Al was in his power armor. And if I remember correctly, Mariah was just a passenger in the ATV. So Mariah isn't there. Melissa isn't there. Your bike.
Yeah, my shitty bike, yeah.
Your shitty motorcycle, yeah. All right. So then we have 2 vehicles and 1 set of power armor. So what y'all gonna do? At this time, it's about. Oh, it was going to be later into the evening because you wanted to just push on through the night and get to the Behemoth on the same day. So at this point, it's around 8:30 to 9 o'clock in the evening, and the sun has completely set by this point.
I think out of character, I would need more information to tackle this. This problem. Like, specifically, was it just the tire that was punctured? Did it mess with the brakes at all for that tire? Did it lock up? Or anything like that? Did it screw with the actual wheel?
Like axle? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Axle isn't broken.
Okay.
It's just the tire itself. It was made of a high-impact material, which could take like a laser shot, perhaps, but it was chewed right through. It's not really rubber, but the synthetic material is trashed, right?
Yeah.
The actual rim itself is undamaged.
Okay.
And what else? Like I said, the axle's fine, but it is like the tire is, for lack of a better word, where the rubber would be in our tires, that's just destroyed. And it's not like a puncture mark, like a chunk is ripped out of it. So it's not a simple patch job, unfortunately.
And all of our lines are good. We're not leaking brake fluid and all.
No, you're not leaking
Okay.
brake fluid. You're fine with that. Yeah,
Okay.
even the brake pads themselves are fine.
I have
Okay.
another question. Is the ATV front wheel, back wheel, or 4-wheel drive?
It is 4-wheel drive.
It is 4-wheel drive. Well, I could potentially help out with actually fixing it once we have a general idea. We could lean on, like I said before, lean on the Mythbusters, just like we did with the ice.
I got to warn you, I watched that episode, so I know all the consequences.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wait, what
it's
are the
not going to be
Mythbusters
easy.
do? I
They
love the
made
Mythbusters.
they made a temporary tire out of a log.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
I might have a less damaging method, but I would have to ask. I would assume there'd be complications with this, but I don't know how many. If the ATV is 4-wheel drive, Al's power armor is theoretically strong enough to like pick up the ATV, though I know there's a difference between lifting and carrying. How hard would it be, and how fast could they go, type thing, if Al basically supports the back half, or maybe that back corner, so that the ATV can still drive, and Al almost acts as the fourth wheel or whatnot?
Okay. First of all, you'd have to at least make a bit of an attempt in character before I can give you any sort of feedback, right?
Right.
So is it fair to say that you lift up the corner, you drive for a few hundred feet to test it out? Is that a fair assumption?
Yes, if everyone's for it, yes.
Yeah. Just really quickly, while you are doing this, Tom is going to be making a grave for the one werewolf that we did take down.
And interestingly enough, in regards to the werewolf that you took down, it didn't metamorphize back into a human form or anything like that. It is very much a half humanoid, bestial, 7-foot large creature, covered in fur, very similar to the initial, images that I showed. That is lying very, very dead on the ground. Okay. So while you do that, let me give you feedback on both those actions then. Before I do so, Patrick, Mariah, is there anything in particular you guys want to do, or am I good to continue?
You're good to continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the only thing that I'd like to do is allocate some of the weight within the ATV.
Okay, great.
So it's weighted more on the side that has the front tire than the basically the opposite end.
Yeah, that is a fantastic idea. That is going to factor into what I'm going to be saying here. So, power armor is an exoskeleton suit, of course, right? So you act and it enhances your body, right? So speed, it enhances your speed, and strength, it enhances your strength. So normally, out of the power armor, there is no way you'd be able to lift that corner. But in the power armor, you can. However, it still fatigues you, but only at a much limited rate, only about 10%. So I'm going to be playing this out as if this is something heavy, but something that you can lift, but it's just going to... The problem isn't can you do it, it's how long can you do so continuously. Now, you have, after taking a test of lifting the corner and trying for a few hundred feet to test your limits of the vehicle and your own strength within this power armored suit, you're able to do a few things. The fastest that you can go, going straight is not a problem. It's maneuvering that's the problem, that you can't go too fast since you don't have the back wheel, and it requires some coordination between the driver and yourself. So on an average speed, probably the fastest that you can go is only about 20 miles an hour. However, considering you're not that far from the Behemoth, it's not going to extend your traveling time all that much. You were only a scant 1 or 2 hours away. This will really just make it 3 hours. So if you continue on tonight, you'll be able to reach the Behemoth probably just before midnight, you're assuming. However, this will be somewhat straining for you. Nothing significant, but you will feel like, well, for example, Squee, since you just finished mowing the lawn, right? You were a rush. It was a little bit fatiguing for you, right?
Right.
It was not, the hardest thing in the world, right? But you were a little tired after doing so, right? So if you were any sort of after that 3 hours of carrying the ATV, you would be somewhat fatigued. Not enough for any gross or huge penalties to skills or combat, but a little bit. like maybe like a -1 or -2 modifier, or maybe like a -5% skill modifier until you have yourself some good rest.
To be completely fair, just so you know, because I assume this would pertain heavily, since my power armor is a lighter version of it, it actually says in the text that unlike most where it only fatigues me at 10% the normal weight, mine fatigues me at 20% the normal rate.
Oh, okay. I'll just add another modifier, so you'll just be a little bit more tired.
All right.
I still think that you're able to do that, and it's not going to be a huge strain, because it gives you an enhanced strength quite a bit. Yeah, no, that's fine. So okay, we'll say this. We'll make it nice and even. You'll be moderately fatigued.
Okay.
How about that?
That
Which
sounds
will
great.
mean a -2 to strength, parry, and dodge, and a -5% to all skill checks until you get yourself some rest.
Okay.
right.
Is everyone else with this? I think this is acceptable. It's much better than. I'm like, as much as I love the idea of a log wheel, I can only imagine that might tear up the ATV more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Patrick would be curious to see if it worked, but probably not the time.
Yeah. I was just spitballing for other options.
And that's never a bad thing.
We might also, Tom, if you're okay with it, put one other person on the motorcycle with you so that there's just that much less weight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure.
So now that we have that somewhat resolved, now comes to digging a grave. How deep do you want to dig, Tom? Because if you're doing a standard, 6 foot into the ground type of grave, that's going to take some time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to do a normal grave, a standard grave.
Okay.
6 feet into the ground.
All right.
Unfortunately, we don't have any implements. So
no. That was my next question: is tools. So do you still want to continue with this idea?
Yeah, I still want to. Even though he's a monster, even though he's werewolf or she or whatever, still doesn't mean they don't deserve a decent burial. In my opinion, I would probably try and maybe break off a branch and see if that could help my progress a bit.
It will, but not by a huge amount. I'll say you start digging for about 5 minutes or so while Al and Patrick and Mariah are figuring out this whole ATV thing, and seeing that the progress that you made, you know that if you're doing this by yourself, it's going to add another hour and a half onto it. If for whatever reason everyone contributes, you all can try to dig a somewhat decent grave, like Alicia, barely the whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe in about half an hour.
What if I tried to rig up some sort of shape charge?
That would work if you're fine using that resource. It would make a crater in which you can then later on. It would take about 5-10 minutes to turn that crater shape into a grave shape.
Actually, I just thought of something that would make it super fast, but I don't think we should do it.
What?
Okay. Please tell me, just so I know.
One of the functions of that orb is to turn a certain amount of dirt into like mud, and then we can just place him on the ground and mud and let him sink. Maybe, but
why is this a bad idea?
Because Lee.
Okay. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I am fine.
And he did just fate. The orb that can turn water into alcohol. Yes, and he did just face his demons like 2 days ago. So.
Yeah, he's still kind of shaken up about that too.
Yeah.
Still, obviously, he's been over this time. He's been a little bit more solemner than normal. Cracks less jokes. He scratches his beard a lot, and he seems distracted.
I don't think it would be, given that I agree that the beast would deserve at least a burial. I call it a beast. Wow. The werewolf would deserve a burial.
They did try to kill you.
And staying here for an hour and a half to 3 hours is probably not the best idea. A small fusion block might not go amiss. We don't use those too often.
That is true.
Yeah, they're only small fusion blocks.
Right? I prefer to go for the mediums and large.
I was about to say, you guys go with the philosophy of go big or go home. So yeah, it's up to you guys.
Unless actually, Inferno, if you'd let me maybe roll a dim check to try and modify a plasma grenade to do the same thing. Or...
No, see, I'm thinking energy types, right? Whereas a concussive force blast like that fusion block would really seriously affect the Earth. A plasma is more likely to scorch it, and it'd probably evaporate a section of it. But I don't know if it'd evaporate enough for you. You know?
Yeah. All right, then what I'll do is I will try to take one of the small explodies and shape it so that it goes downward.
Well, roll me demolitions. Oh, so you'll shape it, and then we'll roll the demolitions check and see how effective that is.
All right. Second.
Now, is it fair to do the rule of common sense where you're trying to do this in a clearing of the woods where there aren't that many other trees so you don't hit any roots or shatter anything?
Yes.
Okay, you're able to find, I say, at least a 15-foot area, and since the biggest the crater is probably going to be is in that 10-foot blast radius, you should be all right. Okay. Of course, this is going to make noise, and there'll be some debris, but you're able to clear everyone out of the way. And goodness knows, after your recent engagement, someone heard where you were. So it's not like you're trying to be sneaky at this point.
So here's my dim check. That is literally...
Right on the nose?
Right on the nose.
Yes. Yep.
Wait, what? You rolled
No, you didn't roll this.
You did negative 87, so you passed it by 16.
Yeah, your macro's all screwed up. When in doubt, guys, I don't mind you just doing the check and we do the mental math, but that's all right. So you rolled a 71, and you need to get under an 87. So yeah, you succeeded by 16.
Okay, I see. I accidentally typed in a negative when I didn't need to. I just forgot what my macro was. Sorry.
Okay. So, yes, the blast resounds, earth kicks up, the clumps going this way and that, and when it clears, there is approximately a 7-foot hole in the ground, 7 foot by about 6 feet lengthwise and widthwise, a 7 foot down, 6 feet long and about 5 feet wide. Big hole in the ground, almost a perfectly shaped circular hole. So placing the werewolf's body in it and then filling that up with surrounding dirt will probably take about 20 minutes. Is it fair to say that you guys do so?
Yes.
Okay. I'm factoring the 20 minutes because you guys don't have any tools. So see if just
okay.
In there.
Next time that we are able to get anything at any kind of shop, we're getting some fucking shovels, okay? Is that fine with anybody? Is that fine with everybody?
Sure. If we're going for that, let's go with a few more tools like that, like maybe some mountain climbing gear or pickaxes.
I don't know. I can't
Did you say
imagine
spoon?
Spoon?
Yeah, I'm aiming for the spoon, guys. No one's agnowledging it.
I don't know, guys. I can't
Need a
imagine
spoon.
any situation where those things would be useful. I really...
Not an
I could
adventuring
just
life, no.
like your forehead, I would squeeze just right center of that smug forehead
The
of
sheriff
yours.
of Rottingham with a spoon because it's dull!
Wait, it'll hurt more. Anyway, is it okay if I continue on, if I just narrate this
Go
next
for it.
little leg of your journey? Okay.
Absolutely.
So, in the dead of night, headlights lighting through this dark wiry forest, you carefully and methodically trudge onwards. The ATV, the wounded ATV, held aloft by Al in his power armor. At times, the ground grows somewhat muddy, but you're able to circumvent and go around the north side of your current trajectory, around this lake completely and back to where the Behemoth lies. For the first 50 minutes of your journey, from time to time, you can see small sparks, glimmers of reflective light looking out at you from the woods, standing far, far back. But it's clear it's the glower of animal eyes, watching you carefully from a distance. Those who decide to use any sort of thermal optics can confirm that 4 large, warm shapes seem to be observing you and carefully following you as you continue to trek outward. However, when the light forest starts to subside and you turn more towards the northeast, your pursuers, or your stalkers in this case, seem to have dispersed. It is approximately 12:30 in the morning when you reach the lakeside and are able to radio Pamel. With a relieved, it takes a few minutes for she was resting, but she responds to you with relief that you're able to return without any sort of huge problems. And once again, with your directions, with the directions of those familiar with piloting the Behemoth, she is able to carefully allow it to crawl up from the lake bed onto the shore of the lake. Although it's very, the exterior is very wet, internally everything is dry and everything is placed exactly as it was. And you're able to return. I think it's fair to say, it's up to you guys, but for the sake of the narration, I think it's fair to say that you guys just rest until morning and then you begin to set out. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So then here's the question, the big question. Now that you're safe back in the Behemoth, where are you going to go next?
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
That is the question.
Yes, it is. So feel free to discuss amongst yourselves. I do have some NPC-initiated scenes in mind, but feel free to, first discuss.
Well, I'm going to go over the list one more time. Help Lee by trying to help Morin. What this would require is going to New Laszlo to pick her up, which is very, 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 very likely being monitored by Nathan, at least. We would need to be very, very careful if we were to want to do that, unless there was some other way that you guys can think of getting Morin or getting her help.
Okay.
It might be best if we are going to go down that route to...
Well, do you want to go through the entire list first?
Yeah,
let's do
I'll
that.
finish off the list. Go back to that temple ruins over in the east near Green Castle, because, spoiler alert, there's a pretty awesome set of armor.
It's
that would-
believed. You have a clue that implies it.
Pretty sure there might be a pretty awesome set of power armor. There is finish Elizabeth's last wishes. What it requires is a high mountaintop to spread her ashes, and information on her former lover, Natalie Ling. We have no information on her as of yet, but she might be near Green Castle. We don't know. And finally, Patrick and Al learn magic. This would require a time skip of around 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Mila and Tom could potentially learn a skill in this time. Potentially. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. And it's very easy for me to do a time skip session, very similar to what we did with the week passing by, right?
Yeah.
We talk about narratively, I come up with a few fun events, and we get done within a session even sooner. So,
I'll go ahead and start first just by saying that as for the Morin thing, because there is a difference slightly between me as a player and Al as a character. That while our ideas about it are similar in the sense that it's really affecting Lee, and that's like the leaving Morin the way she was has never really sat well with me, or Al for that matter. But I kind of put it off to the side as one of those, there's just some things in the world you can't fix, right? And I put it off as one of those things. Now that we know that it's really damaging Lee a lot, it's all Al can think about, and as me as a player, that would be my priority simply because of who Al is. One of his friends is in a lot of pain. He needs to help or wants to help. I love the idea of helping Morin and doing whatever it would take to get that done. However, if as a group this is not something that we're excited for, we want to spend too much time on or anything like that, as a player, all that I would ask that would make me perfectly happy is that Al knows one way or the other if we can do it or not. Like a theoretical example would be, we look into it, we find, look guys, we're not equipped to do this, we can't do this, it's not possible for our group, maybe at the current time. That as a player I'm fine with, because then Al can kind of put it to rest, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because right now, if I think about what Al would be doing, this would be his focus. Now that Mila is okay?
With the potential of possibly getting better, we aren't too sure, but
this would
she's not threatening. Actually, here's a big question. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Squeeze. Okay if I interrupt real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Just because, speaking about Mariah, I have a question as far as role-playing goes. Does she still have that gun in her hand? She's still waving it around? No, she isn't. Okay, cool. I was just curious. Please continue.
I was going to say is that Al as a character, this is going to be consuming his thoughts until one way or the other. Either we find out we can't do it, or we find out we can and we do. So as a player, as long as we can get that answered one way or the other, I'm fine. And obviously, if we can't, I'll always find a way to go with the group.
Mm-hmm. Now, as mentioned before, let me give you just a little bit input on that. When Lee was sobbing, when he was breaking down, he spoke in very vague terms about what happened and that they tried and it was hopeless and all this other stuff. Now that he has effectively calmed down, if you're interested in at least getting a little bit more information from his perspective, I'm very happy role-playing a scene like that. So just let you know I'm open to that, right? Maybe it's from his point of view, right? So I can't give you, a ton of information, but I'll give you everything that he knows, right? Everything that you ask him. Whether that's sufficient information for Al or you as a player is up to you, and if you want to continue to follow up, that's fine. But let's see what the group really wants to do, all right?
I am generally pretty laid back in all of the options that were said thus far. If anything, if I had a want out of all of them, it would probably be the God, I already forgot her name. It's not Mariah. That's
Morin?
Morin, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
The Morin thing, just because that one's the closest. Like, it'd be really hard to do the Morin thing after we already trekked all the way to the other side of the United States. It's not impossible, but it's just one of those things where, like, since we are here, it might be best to do that now and not kind of put it off to the next task, unless we really want to, like, venture back and forth like that.
I personally would not mind getting more information.
Okay.
From Lee. Squee? Would you mind getting more information about this?
So you're okay. So how about this? then maybe maybe when you were traveling towards the Behemoth, maybe even before you even came across the werewolves, it would be an opportune time for you all to, whoever is interested, to discuss with Lee, ask some more follow-up questions. I think that would make sense in the story as
Yeah.
far as timing-wise. So are we good to just roleplay that now then?
Sure.
Okay.
I think, though, at least from Al's perspective, this would be such a sensitive topic that he would probably go to the group first and want to approach Lee as a group, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. I'm sure there's an opportunity for that.
Actually, you know what we should do first, which we haven't really done, before we do things like that, I think Al and Tom and Patrick, if you're concerned too, we haven't really spoken to Mariah.
Yeah,
Since all
that
this
is
time.
true.
Yeah, that is true.
We
That's
should probably get that
actually
out of the
really
way.
good thinking.
We
Yeah,
are
that's great
horrible
thinking.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Oh,
werewolf
Mariah's-
attacks, though.
Ryan's not the chattiest type, so
Right. But, like, because, I mean, like I was saying, is like, now that Mariah's maybe fixed, we don't know. We need to at least talk to her. And
Yeah, let's open that up. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
So I guess we could wait until we get back to the Behemoth, because as
Sure.
Piff said, I mean, things have been hectic on the way back.
Yep. Yeah. It could even be in the morning. It's up to you.
Sure. Yeah, I think that after we're all rested, we could make it a as we sit around breakfast deciding what to do next kind of thing.
You know what? I think that's a great thing, and that's also after we're doing the Mariah thing. It's a great time to broach any sort of subjects you might have with any NPCs, likely. So okay, great. Well, let's start this sucker off. Go ahead, guys. Unless you want me to take the reins.
well, I think to start out with, how early is everyone waking up? Like,
That's a good
Need to
question.
yeah.
I'm going to say, since Al was moderately fatigued, he's actually going to maybe need about at least 8 hours or so maybe 9 in the morning-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, around there is where I would say Tom would wake up.
Patrick is a pretty heavy sleeper, so 9-10 in the morning.
All right.
And the NPCs would be very similar.
Okay, cool. So considering my character doesn't sleep very often, when anyone decides to wake up, you would hear crashing coming from the kitchen.
Oh no. Tom's going to rush over.
All right.
Patrick, Al, what would you be doing? You hear, you're in your bed. It's definitely loud enough. It sounds like pots, pans, the whole, just some general crashing noises, I guess you could say. Is that fair to say? Oh, wait, I hear,
I was just going to say, Al's going to go, maybe not rush, only because he's not sure he wants to see what he's going to find.
Gotcha. So begrudgingly investigate.
Yeah, like, oh my god, if she's
like
still
that.
having problems, I don't know what to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And Patrick?
Patrick would get up as quickly as his tired body will let him do such things.
Okay. So in your own time, perhaps Tom first, since he has the greatest urgency. Criana, I'll let you set the scene.
All right.
I round the corner and I see.
You see just a jumble of pots and pans everywhere, and there's the leaves scattered across the table, the ones that Mariah had picked, and you see her hovering above them, her hands like her palms like digging into the table, just staring at them, analyzing them with great intent. And the kitchen's just in a fucking sty. There's some sort of food spread on the wall. You're not really too sure what it is, but
It's a
there.
brownish red color.
Yeah.
Little
So,
chunks in it.
but she doesn't see you as you round the corner.
Tom is going to stand there for a good minute, taking all of this in.
Patrick,
Wild-eyed with his bed hair, just fucking mess.
Good image. Good image.
Patrick stumbles in during the time Tom is staring, during that minute, looks at all this.
You'll actually Actually, hear her mumbling under her breath. Well, all these look the same. I don't know how I'm supposed to tell them apart. Maybe if I turn it upside down. Okay, that looks a little bit different.
Patrick will definitely wander over.
Al is
Oh,
going.
Patrick!
I was gonna say Al is going to. His shoulders are gonna slump visually in relief when he hears that accent.
Hi, Patrick. Good morning. I'm trying to figure out how this tea thing works because it's supposed to help me with my head, but sometimes I don't really remember what that guy said. I wasn't paying too much attention because I wasn't really there, but kind of happens sometimes. Do you know? Do you know how to make tea? Patrick?
1 second.
Patrick?
He rubs his eyes. Okay. Tea and leaves. What
Mila
kind of
pokes
leaves
her
do we
head.
have?
Mila pokes her head over, seeing Tom. She waves.
Tom's gonna wave and go, How are you doing, Mila?
I'm doing good, I think. Wait, hold on a second. She's gonna run over to you, and she puts her hands on your face, and she starts kind of like moving like parts of your face around and like lifting up like your lip to look at your teeth, and like she'll like try and like look into your eyes like she's examining you very carefully.
Tom will grow concerned.
You
grow concerned.
You don't look like him, but you're Tom still, right?
Yeah.
You got taller, Tom.
Yeah, I did. I got older. Oh, I've been waiting. You're back. Hold on.
What?
I got you a present. Hold on.
Ooh. She jumps up and down.
Tom's going to go back to his room, and he will be back in a couple minutes. Would Al like to stumble in?
I think Al is there
Are you-
presently, but I think it's
Oh.
opening up for other characters for interaction.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
Seeing Al, she will do the exact same thing
Sorry.
as she did with Tom.
I was muted. Al's going to let her do what she does.
She will start braiding your hair if you don't stop her.
Al is actually going to seeing her call Tom Tom instead of old. And if she calls Al, which I don't know if she would or not, he's going to get kind of teary-eyed. And he's going to hug Mila and whisper that he's sorry.
She'll kind of freeze for a moment and then like gently pat you on the back. She'll be like, "It's okay. We can fix your hair. It doesn't have to look like that, Al."
He's gonna laugh through some tears. And he's gonna like hold her back at shoulder length and shake his head and say, "You're right."
About your hair?
He nods. Of course, about the hair.
Al, do you know how to make tea?
Al's gonna scrunch his eyebrows together. No, I don't think
Darn
so.
it. Well, I tried putting the leaves in my mouth, and that did not taste too good. So I'm thinking that maybe if I put them in water, they'll make tea. But it just looks... Here, Al, come over here. She'll, like, grab your arm and, like, take you over to the counter.
You'll see
look.
Patrick there, like, open mouth, kind of, like, sleepy squinting at these, like, leaves, mumbling to himself something like, "Is any of these lemon balm?"
And then
So-
I'm supposed to...
Some of them are, yes.
Al will say, "Well, I know that you can make tea by putting the leaves in the water and then boiling it, but I wouldn't know which leaves to put or how many or anything like that."
Oh, well, I think it's okay because what did the old guy say? Mariah was paying attention, but I certainly wasn't. I have to just split them up, but they can. There's wiggle room. Wiggle room. He didn't say that, but there is wiggle room.
Wait, Mila, you
Yes?
know Mariah?
Yes, we went surfing.
Al's just gonna file that one away for later.
Well, Al's gonna just file that one away. This is amazing. All right, please continue.
And he says hesitantly, and Nora?
Yeah, I know of Nora. She didn't really talk to me. She just sort of was confused. But yeah, I know Nora.
And he's gonna shake his head. Good.
They live in my head, Al.
Al nods as if there's absolutely nothing wrong with what she said. And he says, I'm sorry, so where were we?
Okay.
These leaves, hold on.
Yes?
And he starts going to start, like, naming them off while pointing at them. Let's see how well he does that.
Look, yes, botany.
Well, I can
good.
roll for this, too. I think I have... Don't I have some
Botany?
sort of... No,
I
not
believe
botany,
so.
but I can tell, like, plants apart. Hang on, let me pull up my sheet.
Wilderness survival?
You go first.
Okay. I do it by a lot.
Yes, you're able. Yes, you're able to identify all of them. Luckily, because you were so familiar with the with Elok's garden, you're able to match up everything there. So not a problem. Maybe we'll resolve this tea thing first, there, Tom, and then we'll shift focus to your package.
Oh, no.
You had a nickel
Wink.
every time you heard that, if you know what I mean.
Okay, I got it, too. So Mila
Okay.
knew the whole time. She just, for some reason,
Was
it
Mila-
escaped her.
Mila
Yeah.
Ing, that's fine,
Yeah.
and that's more than fine. So yeah, she's able. Maybe is it fair to say, with Patrick's assistance and focus, you're able to be like, oh yeah,
Oh, right. Oh, of course. Oh, that makes so much more sense than what I was thinking,
that's why it
Patrick.
smells like lemons.
Oh.
While
She's,
he's like
clapping.
pointing them out and just be like, that's another lemon bomb, and he'll like kind of like shuffle them around to be like on the same side. Like in a group. He'll still have them like laid out on the table and things like that, but he's just gonna separate them. It's
So-
just what Patrick does.
Fair enough. Very organizational. So while Patrick is organizing the tea leaves, soon after you resolve the identification of the ones that Mila is interested in, Tom is able to reemerge with something in his hands. Take it away, Tom.
Yeah. He has a wrapped present. And he's going to go, here. It's kind of heavy, but here. This is
Wrapped out of what? I'm wondering.
paper. Just regular old paper.
Okay. I'm like, don't be a wise ass, Tom.
Paper.
I got you. Regular paper. We're good.
Mila
Yeah.
will run up to it and reach out her hands to grab it.
Open it. Open it.
Oh, I thought it was just the box full of wrapped with paper. I have to open it?
Yeah.
She kind of frowns, but it's so
It's-
pretty.
That's why. That's. Here, I'll help you if you
Okay,
want.
don't rip it though. Try and get it so it doesn't rip. I want to keep it.
Okay, he's going to try really carefully to try and.
Roll me a D100.
Okay.
Mila will help.
That's-
Mila tears it off,
Okay.
rips it open.
You start, and it's going really well, and then Mila.
Mila
Mila.
happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
This is a great image.
Tom will open up the box and you will find a huge stack of paper, the box of crayon, or not crayons, but colored pencils that you used to borrow from Tom, and a new pair of colored pencils.
This is for me?
Yeah.
Oh, she will give you a giant bear hug. Thank you so much. I'm gonna draw all these pictures for you, Tom. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be good. I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna draw, but you're gonna love it. Just trust me, okay?
I'm sure I will.
Yay! Yay! Oh, thank you.
Al starts trying to get pots together to make some sort of breakfast.
Patrick is in front of the leaves with his eyes closed and just breathing like hard into the air like he's breathing out death.
Wait, why?
He's not a morning person.
Al will see this and say, Patrick, you like pancakes, right?
Yeah. Pancakes could
We're having pancakes. GM, Al doesn't know how to cook.
Okay.
How do I do this?
Well, okay. If you don't have the cooking skill, are you gonna give it a shot?
I'm going to give it a shot.
Roll me a D100, baby. Unskilled cooking.
22.
Huh. Not
Oh.
awful.
Oh, damn.
So, these are not, gourmet pancakes, but there was a risk of having burned pieces of flatbread or half-cooked mushy oatmeal-like substance. Luckily, neither has happened. They are perfectly edible, pancake-like creations with a little bit of extra syrup, and they're pretty good.
All right. Al makes a lot for the whole behemoth.
The whole ding. Okay. So I have, if it's okay, I have one NPC interaction right now, and then maybe we can do our roundtable meeting, unless you guys still want to keep on role-playing with Mila, because it's a treat.
I would love to.
Okay, here, tell you what. You guys continue role-playing your scene, and when I feel it kind of wind down a little bit, then I'll throw in my NPC. Works?
Yep.
Sure.
Nice.
All right, so Al's making pancakes, of course. Non-morning person. Actually, I don't need to set the scene. You guys, we just did it.
Yeah.
We just did it.
Actually, I'm going to use the washroom, but you guys keep role-playing.
Right.
Okay.
Mila's gonna scamper over to the stuff that's dripping from the wall and start scooping it into her hands and handing it over to Al to put in the pancakes.
Al's going to take it and smile and use a sleight of hand skill to throw it away.
She doesn't even notice. She hands it to you and walks away, getting distracted with other things in the kitchen.
Patrick said, his head droops forward, and he goes, right, tea. So, he opens his eyes wide and then kind of squints a bit, looking through all the the leaves. All right, what's the mixture? How many of what do I need
Okay.
for the tea?
So you need some of these, and when she reaches for the leaves that happen to be the furthest from her, she basically drapes her body, dragging the rest of the leaves under her and mixing them all back up, and pulls out the furthest one and hands him a single leaf. I need that one, and then she looks around and she's like, "Oh man, I need this one." And I need more of that one. Hang on. She reaches over again, picks it up, hands it to you. I don't need a lot. I just need enough to make water.
Patrick has very unmoving, very just if somebody just said stick out your hands, but you don't actually have your fingers straight or whatever, you're very relaxed with it. He's just kind of that in front of him. You notice that his eyes are closed. And he's slightly open-mouthed.
Patrick, hey. She's gonna get up on the table, kneeling right in front of you, staring at you.
He's rocking a little bit. Did you get all the leaves?
Patrick, open your eyes. Open your eyes.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I got all the leaves.
You're not one of the leaves.
I'm not a leaf. She jumps off. Oh, hang on. Whoa, no. Whoa. She does a backflip off the counter.
Nice.
So I got all the leaves for the tea.
Yes.
He'll open one of his eyes and kind of look through his hand to see how many of what leaf is in his hand.
Well, you got a lemon balm. You got yourself a lily of the valley, and you got a random thing of mistletoe. Random sprock of mistletoe.
Mistletoe. Got it. Okay. And this is supposed to be tea. Well, we can either do it in a way where we just use fresh leaves like these, or we can have it dried leaves for later. That takes time. Let's just do the fresh ones.
Okay.
And he
You do
like,
know with your botany check that a lot of those leaves are fresh. They haven't been dried just yet. But yes, you can. That's just something in mind. Like most of the leaves that were gathered were still fresh. None of them have really been dried. There's a few, but not that many. Anyways, please continue.
okay, tea's usually done with hot water. Do we have hot water?
Hang on.
Yes.
Mila looks up around, hearing the disembodied voice of God.
Yes, you do. This is a nuclear-powered machine with fully running electricity. Yes, you have hot water. Looks around for the voice of God. Yeah, you're good.
Could you get me water that is...
Yes.
Thank you.
She runs off. She grabs a pot that Al was using, dumps out whatever contents were in it, goes over.
Can Al make a save check?
Both of you roll initiative. See who's faster.
Okay. Hang on.
I'm screwed.
Oh!
Ah.
It's gone. Your pancakes. You gotta have to start from scratch. It's gonna This is gonna be a little late, guys.
Al just like holds out a hand with his mouth open and just makes like a sound.
She'll see the stuff that fell on the ground while she's filling the water, drop the pot down for a second, run over, pick up the essence of pancakes and scoop it up and put in your hand, smile sweetly at you before turning back to deal with the pot.
Al once again uses a sleight of hand technique to throw it away.
Roll me D100. He threw it away.
She doesn't notice. She doesn't care.
Oh,
She
okay.
grabs the pot, and it's filled with cold water, and she runs over to Tom and looks at him, not saying anything, but her eyes are wild.
He will hold out his hands, hovering them above the table because he's sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
He put the pot in his hands?
Yes.
Okay. He will light his hands on fire.
Ooh, she'll bend over.
It takes
By the way, she is wearing the pink wig while she's doing this.
Sweet.
Ooh.
Oh, and you lean over and watch while that happens?
Mhm.
Roll me D100.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Tendrils of the wig start to fall down. Luckily, they don't get set afire, but they do fall into the water a little bit. The ends get a little soggy
It's
of
okay, the
your
pot's
wig.
for her anyway.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. So after that's all heated up and everything, he will
There's that up oil.
extinguish his hands and hold the hot pot of water.
She will go to grab it, look at it, and then run over and try and find something to shield her hands from the hot water.
Yeah, you
pot.
can find some thick bundles of cloth that you've been using as makeshift oven mitts.
Yeah, she grabs it, she puts it on her hands, gives Tom a knowing nod, and then grabs it,
Mhm.
and then hands the pot to Patrick.
Alright, guys. And the pot will float up a bit.
Yeah, it sure does.
It is swaying a little bit.
Yep.
As the water sloshes a little, a bit of it gets out. And he goes, okay. So, right. And he gets a bit more aware of his situation. And he kind of does what, like, that pirate from that one movie does, where he sticks his hand up in the air.
Uh-huh.
And he will, like, lean into where his hand's pointing and kind of stumble over to a cabinet and pull open, grab a familiar mug, and place it down.
Aw, okay.
And, right, leaves tea. Alright, this is where my cooking skill comes in.
Yep. Damn straight. Roll it.
Okay. He
You're
knows how
able
to make
brew.
tea.
Yeah, you're able to. Well, with this impromptu heat source and water, you are able to brew a fine batch of tea.
Patch. You
They-
put it
they
on your
just-
forehead.
It burns. Anyway, batch of tea.
And he will place down the pot so it's not floating anymore. Safety first, kids.
Well, you know.
He'll pick up the mug and start walking towards you, swaying a bit. You can obviously see that the water is almost tipping out of the mug while he walks towards you.
She'll reach out her hands.
And he will play. He will. Shoot, he's holding the mug handle. And the rest of the mug's hot. How does
She
he
still has the mittens on. She didn't take them off.
Okay.
It's Mila.
mug on mittens and release it?
She will bring it up to her nose, sniff it a little bit, and take a sip, and then go, bleh, 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 ew. She grimaces, slightly staring at the pot-o magic tea. Yeah, not magic tea, just tea, and like frowns. Hang on a second. She then closes her eyes, and when her eyes open, you hear a little sigh, and then she starts drinking the tea.
Nice.
So what's going on, guys? She looks around.
Al kind of grins. Really? She's making you drink the tea?
Yeah, well, you know, whatever. I don't mind it.
It's good to
I
have you
just
back,
made
Nora.
tea, and like you obviously like 2 seconds of him just kind of standing there without any motion, and then just like rises his arms up.
Flourish for the camera.
Al will say it's good to have you back, Nora.
Yeah, it's good to be back. She's just smirking, watching Patrick in his hazy state.
He's currently leaning his still raised arms on the cabinet.
Okay. Any chance that we can make some damn coffee?
Oh,
Let me
I have my
D100.
tea.
See if you can't find a pot. An unused
Okay.
pot. No, more specifically, an unused pot.
Al's not tempting his
48.
cooking fate twice.
You're not able to find a free pot that doesn't have tea or is already soiled or is being used to make pancake.
Well, shit.
Yes. You don't have a full kitchen set. This is a frontier type vehicle. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it makes sense.
And Al is in full defense mode over at the stove.
You hear Nora cough a little and go, "There's hair in this!" And like pull out a strand of pink hair.
Nice.
Oh, right. Yeah, I should have said so.
Thanks for the warning.
Sorry.
Sorry, I love chat. You just made tea, guys. Don't think you're qualified enough to make coffee. Come on.
Nice. It's a different skill check, you assholes. All right. Would it
So-
be? Oh, sorry, I'm one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
No. So what are we doing now?